Greater Fort Worth Housing Opportunity Incorporated was formed by about 50 concerned citizens dedicated to providing adequate housing for all citizens. The group, now financed by members' contributions, plans to begin November 1st in its efforts to end discrimination in housing. At a morning press conference, 3 steering committee members talked about the formation of the organization. Accompanied by Mrs. William Watson and Charlie Ritchie, spokesman David Chappell described the purpose of his agency.
These services will be directed toward assisting families in finding suitable housing within their income limits in the neighborhood of their choice. Members of minority groups who feel that they are faced with discriminatory practices in their search for housing may also consult this group, as well as consulting the representatives of the Department of Housing and Urban Development. This assistance will be accomplished primarily with our group through a group of selected volunteers who will work on a one-by-one basis, facing the individuals involved and attempting to develop a system of conciliation and cooperation in our community.
In areas where the volunteer referral concept has been tried, it has succeeded, sometimes in a spectacular way. The Fort Worth group, however, had rather avoid any spectacular activity. They feel they can do a better low-key job by keeping a low profile and avoiding controversy. Jay Lewis, Channel 8 News on the Move, Fort Worth.
Ernie Larmer tells it like it is, and last night was no exception. Speaking before a packed audience at a meeting of the Tarrant County Apartment Owners Association, the chamber manager decried the small number of voters responsible for passage or possible, at least partial defeat of some bond issues in Tarrant County recently. Larmer chastised the prophets of doom in the area who are crying about the slowdown in the economy. He laid down some positive steps necessary for a successful economic future in Fort Worth.
We have to strive to continue to build our convention industry backlog and at the same time launch some strong thrust for a greater share of our state's tourism industry, because this is, well, I think it's Price Daniel who says tourist dollars are twice as good as cotton and twice as easy to pick. I think that's how he put it, but it's true. We've also got to strive within our community to maintain a delicate balance between urban development, taxation, and long-range planning.
In another section of his speech, Larmer called the chamber a catalyst, an innovator, and in some cases a coagulator if it becomes necessary to slow something down. While acknowledging a softness in the economy, the dynamic chamber leader made no apologies for Fort Worth, calling its growth strong and healthy. Art Sinclair, Channel 8 News on the Move, Fort Worth.
Senatorial Republican candidates, Bush is probably looked upon as the one with the best chance. Is that right?
Yes, of the newcomers. Certainly it's a very tight race, and if we wake up November 4th and discover that Bush has won, I won't be surprised.
The well-known West Texas attorney Warren Burnett and his law firm, particularly his associate Richard Clarkson, have been fighting the La Raza battle for some months now. They've taken the cause of these Mexican Americans all the way through the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals and to the Texas State Supreme Court. Their mission to try to get 16 Latin American Spanish-speaking candidates on ballots in southern Texas cities like Carrizo Springs, Cotulla, and Crystal City. The state says they have not conformed to the regulations which are required. The attorneys say they have, but they've finally given up. Burnett says because he had to go in the hospital, he was not feeling well, and Clarkson thus pulled out. So the only attorney left now to fight the battle is Jesse Gomez of San Antonio.
What they have done in effect is that by not putting us on the ballot, they have elected the Democrats that are running due to the fact that there's no Republicans running, and now that La Raza Unida is not on the ballot, nobody else is. Now, our problem right now is that we can try to win on the write-in votes. The problem with this is that a lot of our voters don't know how to write. They don't know how to read, but they know who to vote for. They know which people are running, but they cannot take a ballot and write on it the people that they want. They can't spell the names, for example. There's a lot of them. Now, what we are saying is that you keep talking about equal justice under law. You keep talking about government for the people, by the people, and so forth. And you say, well, what does this mean? Well, we think it means that the majority should rule. That this means that La Raza Unida should be on the ballot in these 3 counties.
The more pragmatic members of the La Raza Unida movement don't really think they're going to get their candidates on the ballot this time, and so they've already begun efforts to get out a voter registration drive to vote down, where possible, the candidates in the Democratic and Republican parties, which they don't like. But they do believe that next time they will meet all the qualifications, that they will get their candidates on the ballot, and they do have the massive number of voters to put them in office. So, perhaps the next time La Raza Unida will be successful. Jerry Taft, Channel 8 News on the Move in San Antonio.
Well, Rice, we've been watching their films a good bit this week and our off week, and they seem to have a real strong line. They're real huge, especially the Brownie Wheelist, their tackle. I think he's 6'5", about 260. And Philip Wood, their quarterback, is exceptionally good runner. We expect to have a lot of trouble with him. And their young fullback, Malone, real strong blocker.
Now, Wood hasn't been doing too much passing, and it's said that if the Owls are to really succeed in conference competition, they'll have to pass. Do you think they might unload a few on the Mustangs?
Yes, sir. They had 2 weeks off. I feel like they've really worked on the passing because nowadays the team's going to have to pass a little bit to win.
who do you think will win here in Texas?
Jess, I should ask you that question because I've not covered the Texas campaign. I can only tell you what the people in Washington are saying. The people in Washington are wrong quite often about things. They think it's a very close race. They give the edge to Bentsen. Now, I know that many people in Texas are saying that Bush is ahead. I don't know what your polls show or what the Texas polls show. But the Democrats have come from a position of a month and a half ago being very worried about the Texas race to going around town saying that that's one seat that the Republicans won't get to help control the Senate this year or next year.
I know that the people of Dallas, the people of Texas are proud of this fine institution. And what I intend to suggest to the students out there, and I say to you now, is that I'm concerned about the tactics of some of those who criticize Birchby and others and call them all sorts of names. These same people are trying to use the students of America as whipping boys. In fact, they're trying to let the misdeeds of a few, those that want to bomb and burn on our campuses, are really they're criminals, whether they're young or old. This is a violation of our laws, and they need to be treated accordingly.
About mid-afternoon today, I had a call from a friend who suggested that I should read the afternoon paper. That State Senator Charles Wilson of Austin was here, and he had made some very damaging statements about the council, and in fact just a little short of charging us with actual collusion with the telephone company. I read the statement, and frankly, immediately I was aghast at this. I called 6 of the council members, the only ones I could make contact with, and I indicated to them that I was going to make a statement which they concurred in.
You plan to ask the senator by letter to appear before the council?
I'm asking him by radio and television and the newspapers the same way he preferred the charges against us.